Hi, welcome to Fun Recaps. Today I'm going to recap an Indian psychological drama film called Tere Zameen Par, also known as Like Stars on Earth in English. Ishaan, an 8-year-old imaginative child, is well known among his classmates as a troublemaker. He fails every subject and is the lowest-ranking student in his class. He is in his second year of third grade, and based on his report card, he will have to repeat the same grade. In contrast to Ishaan, his elder brother Johan is an excellent student outside of school. He plays tennis and will compete in the upcoming Interstate Tennis Championship. Ishaan frequently gets into fights with the neighborhood kids who bully him. One day, the child's mother began to complain to his father, Kishore, about Ishaan's behavior and attitude. He has to humiliatingly apologize to the child and his mother. He shoves Ishaan after they leave to discipline him. Kishore loves his children, but he is too harsh on Ishaan. He believes Ishaan's low grade and inability to complete basic tasks are due to his laziness. Ishaan's English teacher asks him to read a line from the book the next day at school. He tries his best, but he can't even form a sentence. He has difficulty understanding the letters, but the teachers misinterpret this as him being a brat. When she repeatedly encourages him to read, he yells gibberish and is escorted out of class. Being punished isn't something new for Ishaan. In fact, he spends the majority of his time outside rather than studying because teachers regard him as a distraction to the other students. Ishaan had not completed his math homework on that particular day. To avoid having to face the math teacher, he flees school and spends the entire day roaming around the neighborhood. He makes the most of his day by purchasing ice cream, relaxing by the sea, and observing passers-by. He returns to his school bus at the end of the day without anyone noticing. We see him create a lovely painting at home. Ishaan enjoys painting, and his creative imagination aids in the creation of extravagant works. His mother, Maya, later tries to tutor him and force him to complete his assignments. She notes that his handwriting is terrible and that he has trouble spelling. She equates his incompetence with laziness and chastises him the same way the rest of the class does. Ishaan's teacher will require an absence note from his parents the next day. He begs his brother to write the note for him, afraid of getting in trouble. Johan makes him pledge that he will never skip school again, and he writes the note. The student shows it to his teacher. He seems unconcerned. He also acts sick by pretending to cough. The exam is given to the students that day by the math teacher. The test paper is delivered to Ishaan, but the letters appear to be dancing in his hands. He is asked to multiply 3 by 9 in the first question. The child imagines a battle between the third planet on Earth and Pluto, the ninth planet. The rationalizes that the solution is 3 by fantasizing about the Earth killing the Play-Doh. When asked by his friends about the test, he boldly replies that he absolutely enjoyed it despite leaving the rest of the questions blank. Kishore returns from a business trip the next day. Ishaan is overjoyed by his father's return and lavishes him with hugs. Kishore, on the other hand, sees the fake absent note from the day before during breakfast. When he investigates, he discovers that Ishaan has run away from school and is wandering alone in the streets. The next day, his parents meet with his teachers and the principal, who both condemn his behavior in class. They also learned about the most recent math tester and its results. The principal believes Ishaan is a special needs child who should attend a school for children with disabilities. Kishore is terrified of his son becoming crippled. Both parents are concerned about their child's future and decide to enroll him in boarding school. Ishaan is utterly opposed to the concept. He protests in tears, pleading with them to keep him at home, and while his parents do not want to be separated from him, they do want what they believe will be best for him. Ishaan had a nightmare about losing his mother in a throng and wakes up screaming. When she tries to calm him down, he pledges that if he is allowed to stay at home, he will study more. Maya is heartbroken, but Kishore is determined about his decision. Ishaan is eventually sent to boarding school in the countryside. He'll have to share a dorm with other kids and will only be able to see his family once a month. It's a nightmare for the 8-year-old boy who has never been separated from his parents. The hostel warden welcomes him and informs him that his old ways will not be accepted here. The family leaves the school with a heavy heart after touring the school. Ishaan just stares at their car as it drives away, his eyes welling up. Even after that, he remains in that position for several minutes. The car vanishes from his sight. He walks into the hostel, still crying, as it begins to get dark. He rarely speaks to anyone and rarely eats dinner. When he can't sleep at night, he goes to the bathroom and softly tears, missing his mother. Meanwhile, Maya arrives at home and begins sorting through Ishaan's belongings. She discovers a flipbook of him being taken away from his family, much to her dismay. As she reads the book, she learns how much the child dreads being separated from them. In the hostel, Ishaan tries on his tie and shoelaces, among other things. Mr. Tiwari, his Hindi teacher, places him on the front bench alongside the class topper, Rajan, on his first day. The teachers quickly see that Ishaan is not typical. His art teacher physically punishes him for not paying attention in class. Nothing has changed since he was last seen. As punishment, he is always sent outside the classroom and is excluded from the class activity for running it. He eventually becomes so frustrated that he tears his book apart and throws it away. He stops trying to do better in school and falls into a depression and self-loathing spiral. When his parents arrive after a month, he locks himself in a room and bursts out crying for the first time since he last saw them. To rebel, he runs outside and several laps around the basketball court. To give him a break from his life at the hostel, his family takes him to a hotel for the night. Johan provides him a gift basket of painting supplies, but little does he know, Ishaan has shut down his creative side and stopped painting entirely. The next day, his family bids him farewell and abandons him once more. Later that day, Ishaan is at his lowest he has ever been. He looks down from the school's terrace, imagining how it would feel to jump from that height. Rajan, his only friend, interrupts his thoughts and informs him about their new art teacher. Ishaan is unconcerned because no teacher has ever assisted him. The kids are taken aback when the new teacher Ram enters the classroom dressed as the Joker. Ram sings a song and plays the flute. Unlike all other teachers, he encourages them to dance and lets them enjoy the class. While the older Ishaan would have enjoyed it, the miserable Ishaan refuses to take part in any of it. Students are given the responsibility of drawing or painting whatever they choose for their quick task. Ram wants them to show off their creative side so he can figure out what he needs to focus on next. Ishaan does not even touch the paper while the other youngsters begin to draw various things that are all distinct from one another's. Ram initially guesses that the child is deliberating, but Ishaan's notepad remains blank even after the lesson has ended. Ram is concerned and inquires as to what is wrong, but receives no response. That evening Maya calls to talk to Ishaan but he only holds the phone to his ears and does not say anything. He is informed that they will have to postpone the next visit by a week because of Yo's tennis competition. To Ishaan, this only confirms that his family does not care about him. He sheds a single tear and walks away without saying anything. The next day Ram sees Ishaan kneels down outside of the classroom. Intrigued by his behavior, he asks Rajan about him. Rajan reveals that Ishaan has difficulty understanding letters no matter how hard he tries. Ram teaches in a school for disabled children so he has an eye for kids who are special. To find out more about Ishaan, he goes through his old notebooks and finds a pattern for a similar mistake. Even while teaching the special children, he cannot get the thought of Ishaan out of his head. He used to have the same problem in his childhood so he feels sympathetic to the kid. Weeks later he recognizes Ishaan's problem and travels to his hometown to meet his parents. They welcome him and let him take a look at Ishaan's bedroom. Ram is surprised to find out that Ishaan used to paint. This makes him even sadder that the kid lost his sparkle because of the pressure that was out on him. Nandkishore dismisses his son, claiming that he is lazy and dislikes studying. Ram retaliates and demonstrates the pattern in Ishaan's mistakes. He frequently inverts the letters, as if he has difficulty distinguishing between them. Still, the father associates it with laziness, but Ram states unequivocally that he is incorrect. He claims that Ishaan has dyslexia, a neurological condition that causes him to be unable to understand certain patterns, such as letters and words. Furthermore, he has difficulty coordinating, which causes him to be unable to tie his shoelaces. The child must have been in a lot of pain because no one realized he couldn't read and assumed he was just being lazy. Nandkishore believes Ram is referring to his son as a retard and lashes out at him. Ram asks him to read foreign letters written on a box in order to make him understand. When Nandkishore is chastised for not understanding the letters, he realizes what his child is going through. Nonetheless, he refuses to acknowledge that his son can make a living from his one and only passion, painting. Ram is determined to disprove him. When he returns to school the next day, he tells the students about all the famous historical figures who were bad at school when they were children. He gives them examples of scientists, actors and philosophers, which makes Ishaan feel a lot better about himself. When Ram asks them who invented the light bulb, Ishaan speaks for the first time in weeks and answers, Thomas Edison. Ram sees a shimmer of hope for the boy to learn. Later that day, Ishaan is by the pond when he uses rubber bonds and leaves to make a working boat. Ram is so impressed that he brings the structure home and keeps it as a decoration. Ishaan's creative sense starts to flow again, but he still has a long way to go before learning to study like the other kids ago. One day, Ram goes to the school's principal and tells him about Ishaan's problem. The principal suggests to send him to the school for the children with special needs, but Ram is confident that Ishaan can study with the regular kids. He suggests the teachers understand the kid's problem and help him accordingly. When the principal says it is not possible, Ram offers to teach Ishaan every day after school. The principal allows it for the sake of the child. Starting the next day, Ram uses various innovative methods to help Ishaan differentiate letters of the alphabet. They learn using sandboxes, Play-Doh, sensory methods, and so on. Ishaan also takes help from audiobooks and stares to learn to calculate. In only 2 months, he begins to understand the letters that the other teachers couldn't teach him in several years. One day, Nandkishore comes to the school to talk to Ram and boast about how they are researching more about their son's condition. He wants Ram to know he is not an absent father and is proud to be the way he is. Ram, on the other hand, blames the father for being the reason the kid lost self-confidence, which even Nandkishore cannot deny. On his way out, he sees Ishaan trying to read from the notice board. Regretful of unknowingly hurting his child, he tears up and cannot get himself to face him. A few days later, Ram organizes a painting competition for both teachers and the students of the school. Everyone gathers in the amphitheater and participates. Ishaan uses the painting supplies that he was gifted by his brother for the first time. The competition starts and everyone gets busy drawing. Even the teachers enjoy the event to their best. By the end of it, Ishaan draws a beautiful painting of himself sitting by the pond. He goes to the front to submit the painting and sees that Ram has painted a portrait of him. He is left speechless at the sight. A while later, it is announced that the winning painting will be on the front of the new edition of their yearbook. The principal proclaims that the decision was difficult because 2 paintings stood out the most, Ram's and Ishaan's. In the end, Ishaan is declared the winner while the second prize goes to Ram. The crowd erupts and cheers. For the first time in his life, Ishaan feels recognized for his talent. He cannot help but cry and runs to his teacher to hug him. In the last scene, Maya and Nandkishore come to the school for the end-of-the-year parent-teacher meeting. The principal boasts about Ishaan's talent, showing them his painting on the front of the school's yearbook. Unused to the new attention, the parents are left shocked. The principal also praises Ram for doing a great job teaching the kid the way he needed it. Later, the parents meet Ishaan's teachers, who show them the report card and compliment and kid's undeniable progress. Outside, the couple watches their son play and tears of joy come up in their eyes. Nandkishore expresses gratitude to Ram for assisting Ishaan and apologizes for his actions. Finally, Ishaan says his goodbyes to Ram and returns to his hometown for a vacation. Stay tuned for more videos like this. To help the channel, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Thank you for watching.